What's going on, y'all? This is Alex Quin, Hustle Inspires Hustle Podcast. We're with Michelle Chia today. What's up, Michelle?
Howdy.
This is our first one-on-one episode.
Yeah.
The other ones have been with Kev, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, Michelle used to hate this before.
I hate it.
No, you don't. A little bit.
Yeah.
She's shy, but she loves it, and she's very smart in marketing, which is why we're here today. We want to talk about a few things digital marketing, which is what we do on a daily basis. Michelle and I operate UADV, a digital marketing agency based out of Miami, but operating globally. We help brands reach millions of dollars a month in sales for both products, services, anything in between, from low ticket, medium ticket, all the way to high ticket. We've had an amazing marketing journey so far. We have a ton more to learn, but in our time working together and in our time as marketers, we've been able to gather a lot of cheat codes that we want to share with you guys, things that work for us, specifically on websites, landing pages for products, for services. What we kind of look at when we first start working with a brand or even one of our personal brands, what are the kind of like key things that we like to have on the website to make sure it converts, to make sure that it's getting the point across, to make sure that's collecting data. So that's what we're here to do today. So thanks for being on, man.
No problem. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I know you're probably a little bit worn out. You had a nice 4th of July.
Wonderful 4th of July with some of my best friends.
Yeah, good times?
Yes, great time.
All right. Thanks for taking the time to jump on here today. So let's dive right into it, okay? So a majority of our work is auditing, right? Auditing businesses. People come to us, say, hey, we want you to run our marketing. We want you to manage our marketing budgets, run our ads, do our SEO, build a website for us, do conversion rate optimization, which if you don't know what conversion rate optimization is you have a website, probably looks nice, maybe doesn't convert really well. Say 100 people visit the website, only one person purchases. You optimize the website. Now maybe 2 out of every 100 people purchase, and obviously your ad dollars go a lot further if you do this. So we're going to talk about what that is, okay? So let's break it down. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We have a checklist of things that we want to talk about. I'm sure there will be a few other things that we'll throw in there as we talk. But one of the first things that we look at when we look at a website is copywriting, of course, right?
Yep.
Whether it's a product, whether it's a service, what are we looking at when we're looking at copy?
Well, first, like everybody always has like this idea, like, oh, like my website has to look really, really nice. And honestly, like there's so many really nice looking websites out there that don't make shit money just because they don't have the right conversion mechanism set up. One of them being copywriting. A lot of people, we actually had a copywriting episode a couple episodes back with Brett, and he talks a little bit more on it.
Brett Coffin, yeah.
Yes. But basically in regards to copywriting, it should be talking more so about your benefits and what you are bringing to your audience, more so like what your product is. Like at this day and age, like everyone is always trying to sell something or trying to sell you something. And no one really wants to know, like everybody wants to know how it's going to benefit them and how like speak a lot more on yous instead of I's.
Yeah. Sell the solution, right? What's their pain point? Very, very stuff you've probably heard already before on this podcast or from other people. Very important to reiterate. What are you selling? What problem is it solving for people? How is it ailing their problem? How is it making it easier for them to get to that end goal that they're trying to get to? Whether it's fitness, whether it's food, whether it's consulting, whether it's a high ticket service, whatever it is, focus on the client. If you are the client and you're Googling this service, let's say you're trying to hire an attorney, a very expensive attorney that you know is going to be a lot of money, it's going to be a headache. You first and foremost want to know that they understand your problem, that they're articulating maybe your problems right back to you and telling you, hey, you're probably having this problem, this problem, this problem, that problem. Here's the solutions to these problems. Here's what we've done before. Here's how it's worked in the past. Here are some potential case studies. This all makes part of the copywriting. There's going to be different elements to the web page and how you format the web page. But the first thing that's going to be important is the voice. What is your opening headline going to be? How are you going to break down the text from there on? What are the features of your product or service? The benefits of your product or service? Very bare bones marketing stuff that you probably already know. We definitely recommend that you go back on that episode that we talked about, which is a Brett Kaufman, where we talk about copywriting. And we also have another one, I believe, with Eddie, right?
Correct. That very old episode.
Very old episode, but still, copywriting principles, remain 100%. The same. Eddie Schleiner, make sure to check out that episode. But copywriting, very, very, very important. If you're not good at copywriting, of course, hire a copywriter. You don't have the budget for very expensive copywriter, freelancer.com, free up, Upwork, Fiverr.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, I was going to take it there. If you know how to do prompts and you know how to recognize quality content, you could use ChatGPT to make sure it kind of like dumbs it down for you. But there is tools out there for you to be able to do this, whether you have a high budget where you could hire a copywriter to come in and do it perfectly, hit all the pain points, hit all the, all the main things that you want to hit, or you use softwares or tools, or be able to acquire economic labor from wherever else.
But brand voice is like where a brand can really like shine their light and like really get creative on how to speak to people, and just really speak to their audience. Like, for example, like I always talk about them, but like Chipotle is like one of my favorite brand voices, and even the brand that I wear a lot is like Assholes Live Forever. And their brand voice is tailored exactly to their audience. They speak exactly how their brand looks and feels, and the people that even wear their brand, how they look and feel. So it's just a really great way to experiment with your brand voice and actually really talk to your audience. And it just doesn't feel like someone trying to sell to them, but it actually just feels like something that they would embody themselves.
Yeah, like something that feels familiar, something that they recognize. Maybe you have a funny brand. Maybe you're sarcastic. Maybe you're an asshole. Like Assholes Live Forever. How do they talk to their client base, by the way? Assholes Live Forever.
Yeah, so for example, like they get really nitty gritty with their brand voice, from their emails to their text messages to the website. Obviously, website copy, for example. They have like, they'll send emails basically saying like your order confirmation, and it'll be like, oh, if you email us asking you where your order is, like we'll throw your order in the trash. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, that's their brand voice.
But that's just what their brand voice is. Like, they're assholes, and like if you don't like it, like then you don't buy from them, and it is what it is.
Well, there is a lot of, I've seen on social media, there's a lot of restaurants that do that. Like they treat their clients like crap. There is this place here in Miami. It's a sub shop. Don't want to mention them. They have great subs, but they will treat you like complete shit. You ain't shit to these people. And you see a line out the door of people buying subs, but we're not telling you be an asshole to your client base, but we're telling you.
But if that's your brand, then do it.
That's your brand, then do it. Or maybe you're sarcastic, maybe you're funny, maybe you're very professional, very serious, very informative, very educational. Understand your room, read the room, understand your people. You will then know how to talk to them in your messaging. And this is not just for the website. This is for the text message campaigns. This is for email campaigns. This is for social media captions. This is for scripts, for voiceovers, for anything that may be on your website and on your social media. Copywriting and brand voice go hand in hand. Brand voice is how you communicate, what your tone is, what your flavor is, what your essence is. And the copywriting is how you articulate all of that essence into actual words that help people understand how you're going to help them or you're going to solve their problem. So I think that pretty much covers copywriting, right?
Yeah.
What do we want to move on to next?
Probably, I think like the number one thing that people always forget is having a lead magnet on their website. What a lead magnet is basically one of those like, well, it can be anything, but let's say, for example, one of the most popular ones is a type of pop-up that'll show up like when you hit the site, a couple of seconds being on a site or even leaving a site. That pop-up would contain anything from collecting emails, collecting phone numbers, collecting birthdays, anything, any type of information you want to collect. So then that way it's basically a magnet that's collecting leads that you'll be able to hit them with emails or text messages later on. This works for both products and services, but it's something that a lot of businesses don't ever look into, just because like people always have the stigmatism like, oh, like I hate pop-ups. No one ever signs up for emails. Like no one ever signs up for this stuff.
Which is not true.
Which is totally not true, because we've made thousands and thousands of dollars for our clients using email marketing on these actual lead magnets. And even our own clients have been like, oh, this pop-up isn't going to work. And it's not, it's going to be horrible for conversions. And we'll literally show them the data afterwards, how this works. But yeah, lead magnets is probably like one of the most forgotten things that businesses forget on their website. Yeah.
And a lead magnet could be a discount code, free shipping, access to a PDF download, access to a free community. Essentially, it's a lead. You want to turn that person into a lead for your business, and the magnet is what you're offering them. What is your incentive in order to draw them into your email? Now, very important. We're not going to get into the specifics of compliance because we have an episode for that. You can check it out, marketing compliance on Hustle Inspires Hustle. You want to make sure that when you have a lead magnet, first and foremost, people are signing up. They're confirming that you could actually be contacting them. So check off whatever box you need to check off for compliance, GDPR, or whatever the case may be. And also, there's a lot of websites that do have lead magnets, and a lot of spam, like a lot of BS emails fall through and stuff that doesn't work. It's really good to add a captcha code to your submission box so you could filter out a lot of that spam, because you will have pushback sometimes, whether you're a digital marketer working in a business or an agency working for a business, that you're making suggestions to do these types of things. They'll be like, oh no, that's BS. That just gets full of spam. That doesn't work. It's very important when you're a marketer, you understand that you can't just say things don't work without looking at data, right? We deal with that a lot.
Yeah, it's really also good to look at your competitors, who are more than likely having a lead magnet on their website too. So let's say your competitor in industry is charging or doing a lead magnet that's like 15% off, or for services, it'd be a free consultation. You want to one-up them and not offer the same exact thing. So if they're offering 15, then you offer 25, or you offer, it can be like a free keychain, like anything. Everybody
free gift with purchase.
Everybody loves free shit. And, like everybody's just, it's an email, at the end of the day, it's a little hard to collect phone numbers, but emails are so easy. Everyone will happily give an email for free anything, free consultation, free, I don't know, free ebook, you even said, and it's so easy to make ebooks. I think like the key to if your lead magnet is not working is because you do not have a good magnet. Yeah. So like reevaluate it.
Or your brand voice is off.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense with your audience. And like a really good tool that we use is we've used for years. It's called Privy, Privy, and it has like a bunch of different lead magnets that you can use, from pop-ups to like the spinner wheels that we love to use all the time. And and it has really good integrations for email marketing campaigns too, for like Klaviyo, MailChimp, anything like that.
And we'll link Privy in the show notes. They're an affiliate partner of ours, so check it out. Get a free month. It works pretty well. People, you'd be surprised how many people come to us, have us audit their website, their company. They don't have a lead magnet. It's like, you're not even trying. It's like, oh, it's not going to work. Well, you might as well have something that will kind of collect data for you, because data works. Eventually, you send email blast, text message blast out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a pop-up. Some people are like, that won't work. But it could be a messenger bot. You could build a messenger bot in ManyChat, have it on your website. Might even be on your Facebook page as well, Instagram page. And your bot could be set up to talk to a person in a very natural way. And in that specific way, you could easily collect the phone number, the email, the birth date. And why are these things important? Well, you collect the phone number, you could text them, revenue from text messages. And there is revenue from text messages. Don't let anybody tell you that doesn't work. If it doesn't work, you're not doing it right. Revenue from emails, of course. Okay. If you want to understand a little bit about email deliverability, we have an episode with Brett Kaufman as well. You could go back and check that out. We talk about email deliverability, so that'll help you out. That way we don't go on a tangent. Why do we collect birthdays? Well, how nice it is when on your birthday somebody hooks you up with something, gives you something free, maybe even just sends you a nice message. Hey, happy birthday, Alex. Happy birthday, Michelle. Yeah, Brands actually take the time to do this.
Birthday emails, like Cold Stones gives you free ice cream on your birthday night, or like Krispy Kreme gives you free dozen donuts too.
You know all the snack plugs. I just had a thought and it just left my mind. Yes, Chewy, the dog brand.
Yeah.
First and foremost, their marketing is top-notch, excellent. Their brand voice, their copywriting, excellent. And you know something that they do, and I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but when they find out that
your dog
passed away, they send you gifts, and they send you, like, my God, like, how incredible is that?
Saw that.
And obviously that cost them money, that cost them time, that cost them collecting data, understanding. But if there's anything that you should take away from having a brand, is that repeat customers are a thing. People's feelings and trust towards you is a thing. We just talked about that in a recent podcast with Olivia Ormos about her brand Maven. And we also talked about it with James Preventure, who owns Barry's down here in Miami. And it's about building community. If you care about your customer, if you care about your leads, if you care about the people that are coming into your ecosystem, they feel it. If they're more than a number and they feel personalized communication, a personalized touch, there's a higher likelihood of them buying from you. And there's a way higher likelihood of them buying from you multiple times, more than one time. And of course, what comes after that is word of mouth, which is they're going to talk about it. They're going to recommend you to their friends and family, and the word is going to get spread.
And they're going to review it.
They're going to review it. And then you have a full circle there. So I talked about copywriting so far. We talked about lead magnets so far. We talked about messenger bots, which kind of hits two birds with one stone. Communication with the client to make sure they're getting what they need, and also a collection of data. I think next, now that we've talked about this, we could dive a little bit into automations.
Yep.
Right? So people landed on your site. They like the wording. They like what they saw. Maybe they saw a video at the top that had a great script, which goes back to copywriting and brand voice. They give you their email. They give you their phone number. It doesn't stop there. You just don't want to put them into a list where they're never going to get hit up and they're in a dead list. You try to hit them up 6 months, 12 months later, they're going to forget who you are. You immediately want to have automated sequences, what some people call welcome and nurture sequences. We've talked about this on the podcast before. They sign up on your lead magnet on the site. They give you their email immediately. Klaviyo, Privy, MailChimp, ConvertKit, whatever of softwares you're going to be using, which a lot of these, by the way, are affiliate partners of ours, and we will link them. So if you do click the link and sign up, that does help us out. Want to make that clear. These softwares work very well. We not only vouch for them, but we use them at our marketing agency and for our personal brands. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that up to date, because as soon as somebody signs up, they get an email about who your brand is, what it does, what its values are, what it stands for, what products it serves, what services it serves. And you could split that up in a series of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 emails over a course of 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, a week, a little bit longer. And that makes it much easier for people to understand what you bring to the table.
Yeah, and there's different types of automations that you could set up. The birthday being like a really, really popular one. There could be previous customers, repeating customers. For example, like if you have a subscription-based type of business, you could do like refills. Like let's say it's refill every 4 months, then you should be emailing. You should have a automation that's set up every 3 months. That's like, hey, your refill should be done in a couple of days. Make sure to refill. Here's 10% off for your next order. Same thing if it was services. Let's say that, I don't know, Botox or lip fillers, for example.
We have an episode literally for med spa marketing dropping very soon, if not dropped already. So
Perfect.
Check that out.
So let's say you have a med spa, and every couple months people have to come in and get their things done. Then you should be sending them another email in a couple of months saying, hey, you have to come in. Make sure to come in, whatever. Here is a free whatever it may be. So just automation set up like that, not just the typical welcome or abandon sequences. Like there's so many types of sequences that you can set up, from people that book specific services or buy specific products from your store to people that visit specific pages on your website.
Yeah, because a lot of people get tied up on the welcome sequence, abandon cart sequence. Somebody add to cart, abandon the cart, then you remind them. Very, very understandable that you would want to have those. But there's cross sells, there's upsells, there's customer win back sequences. Look into all of these things. We're not going to dive deep into what each thing is right now. We simply don't have the time, and you could go ahead and dive into that. We want to give you a general overview. But all of these things are things that if you neglect, you might be doing a lot less revenue. You already have this traffic coming in. You already have these contacts. Might as well make sure that you have the right touch points. It's not about being annoying or pestering your client. And it's also not about trying to sell. You want to have value-driven follow-up. We learned this from one of our mentors, Jeremy Haynes, and many other mentors that talk about this, which is, how are you hitting them up? Oh, hey, buy from me. Oh, hey, don't forget to sign up. No. Give them tools that are valuable, information, educational information that's valuable towards what they want, what their end goal is. If you're talking about Botox, talk about the latest and greatest, fillers, whatever the case may be. What are other people trying? What are results people getting? How often should you do it? Things to keep in mind, frequently asked questions. Let's say that for every four points of communication you have with your client, 3 of those are you giving absolute value, and maybe 1 of them you're asking for something. Don't just ask. Give, and then ask. Know when to do the ask. Very important. Some people don't know when to do the ask. They're always asking for shit.
Yeah, nobody likes being that person or knowing that person that always asks for shit and never does anything for you in return.
Yeah. So you have a lot of brands these days that want instant gratification. I want to run ads. I want the results right away. I want clients right away. And they're always thinking about new clients. How do we get new clients? How about we focus on how do we maintain the clients that are coming through the door? Let's treat them well. Let's build culture, okay? Let's build an ecosystem where they feel respected and cared for and looked after, while at the same time, simultaneously thinking about how to bring people into the bucket, because these people are going to come and buy from you. right? What are you going to do with a business that it's always bringing in people, they fall off, you bring new people, you have this churn where you're never actually seeing a scale. You don't want to do that. And it happens in every business. You know, it's happened to us, it's happened to clients of ours. It's very important to focus on the follow-up. People who already spent their money with you are more likely to spend their money with you again. And also asking them how their experience was. You've probably had experiences where you buy from a brand, they email you, hey, how is your product? Amazon does it, other brands do it.
Yeah,
you could
and
do
that's
it
how
too.
big, like all these big brand names like survive. Like that's how Apple survives. Like look at us, like we have AirPods, we have MacBook, we have iPhone. You know, like everything is Apple based. Why? Because, you know, Apple does a great job at branding themselves and making themselves a very stable and secure industry leader, so that like they really focus on their customers for years and years now.
And it's easy to communicate with them.
Yeah.
And it's also easy to understand. And a great example of what Michelle is pointing out here is, I mean, I think it's very well known that Android is ahead of the game in phones, right? There's usually this like back and forth of Android and Apple users. Oh, Apple is better Android. Let's make it clear. From what I've seen, and I'm no expert, what I've seen is Android is ahead of the game in most of the things that you see. But for some reason, Apple has a lot more revenue. They're the biggest cash flowing company on earth.
Yep.
And people yet still buy products that could be more expensive, less advanced, but it's because of how they present their brand, how they market their brand, how they speak to their people. The Apple conference that they have every year, they make you look forward to different things. So just really analyze like maybe yourself, competitors in your industry, people who are starting out fresh, and see which of them have the highest engagement in comments, in shares. Like, what are people saying about them, right? That's very important, because a lot of the times you see brands that, you know, they appear really good, but they're dead when it comes to flavor. Like, what are people saying? Oh, they're not even commenting. They don't like your stuff. And then sometimes you'll see an ad on Instagram and it's like, oh my God, I love this. I purchased it. I recommended it to a friend. It did this, it did that. And you see the brand commenting back, not just a general copy and paste. Oh, thank you for, no, they write to them specifically to their issue. If you have an issue, write back to me. Make sure to do this, do that. Like skeptics. Managing expectations for skeptics is really good when it comes to your copywriting and your brand voice. Getting back to that. People, let's say you're running ads on social media, you're getting a bunch of haters commenting, also some people loving on it. Respond to everybody. Oh, this didn't work for me because it has this chemical. Maybe it's a hair product, right? Oh, this chemical messes up my hair. Oh, well, thank you, Sandy, for commenting. We really appreciate your feedback. We're actually looking into possible ways that we could solve this problem for people like you in the future. Thank you for your feedback. It means a lot. Versus deleting the comment, versus ignoring it. It's a different type of communication, and people see that you're a brand that cares about the customer experience. That makes a difference in conversion.
Yeah, and you know, like, not, it sounds weird, but like you almost want bad reviews, because those are like you want the 3 and the 4 stars, because those are people that are actually using and like judging your product, not just the typical 5 stars and like, yeah, I love this product, I love this service, I had such a great time. Like, no, like we want like the 3 and the 4s that are like, hey, like, you know what, this project was great. However, I would have loved if it was a little bit cheaper. I would have loved if this button was blue, and I would have loved if, you know, like it was easier to book book an appointment online. You know, like you want that criticism so then that you could get better and you can improve on your product or your service.
Very important that you understand that part. Another great aspect of like researching and understanding your client base is something we've done before. A little cheat code we're gonna throw your way. You don't always want to look at the positive comments. Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great. Michelle just said that. You also want to look at the comments where people are dissatisfied, because it helps you understand where you could improve. Or even if you're starting a new brand and you don't have a product or service yet, but you're trying to see what are some pain points that are in the industry. A great thing we like to do, for example, when it comes to e-commerce, check Amazon and check all the 1-star reviews in a specific industry or in a specific category. The 1-star, the 2-star, the 3-star. And see what are the common denominators? What is being repeated? Oh, the quality of this is a little bit flimsy. Oh, this didn't last too long. It broke after 3 months. The customer service for these people, I bought the product, they never wrote back. My product never arrived. Customer service never emailed me back. Look at these things. These things are very important to look at, because they help you get an understanding for the landscape of what people want and what people don't want. And then you'll know what to avoid. And you'll know how maybe they have some negatives in their comments or in their views about your product that you could maybe help overturn by having better copy, by having testimonials, right? Which is another point that we want to hit today. Testimonials are very important. We look at comments, but there's also video testimonials. There's user-generated content that people submit. There's people maybe writing about your products on or your services on Twitter. Twitter is a big one for this, like airlines and different brands that are having issues. Chipotle, you've mentioned Chipotle. People have issues. They tweet Chipotle, hey, what's going on, Chipotle? Hey, email us. We'll point you in the right direction. Like all of this stuff is extremely important because, like Michelle said, the reviews are solid. They're what are going to allow other people to see if they want to trust you with their money or trust you with their time. So reviews could come in many different ways. Reviews could come in ways of you screenshotting a conversation, screenshotting a tweet, screenshotting a comment. Of course, you want to make sure you have permission to share them. They come in photos with somebody maybe with a product, happy, smiling. They come in the form of audio, maybe on a podcast. They're talking about your review.
Yep. And having reviews like on your website is key because like people are scientifically like a creature of habit and they will follow the pack. And there's not a lot of leaders out there. So people always need to have like that push to
not enough.
Yeah, exactly. So like people always need to have that push or somebody else to do it first. And another thing, like for the love of God, do not fake your reviews. Like do not use those stupid plugins that like do that stupid pop-up that's like, oh, so-and-so just booked or just bought this in Idaho.
That's
like,
against the law, actually.
Pretty much against the law. Like again, compliance. Like do not fake them. Like if you need to ask Bob, your neighbor, for a review, then so be it. But that's real Bob that actually exists. Like don't go and like copy and paste a bunch of random stuff and give your products like or services 5-star 200 reviews. Like and you're a brand new business. Like it just doesn't make logical sense. And you don't want to start your brand by lying to your audience that you're trying to sell to.
That's no way to build trust. Any fake countdown timers, any fake this person just recently bought, what are the other ones that people are like the fake reviews? Yeah, like you go on a product has like 100 reviews. They're not even verified buyers. There's apps that you could use for that. And just understand, just because there's an app that's legally like quotation marks out there that you could sign up for and use doesn't mean that it's legal. We have an episode here on Hustle Inspires Hustle that talks about marketing compliance. It's out. We talk about FTC compliance, FCC compliance, GDPR compliance. This is a thing, okay? The internet is the Wild West, okay? And just because you haven't gotten in trouble doesn't mean you won't. And just because you haven't gotten a fine doesn't mean that you won't, okay? So very important in your copy, in your brand voice, in claims that you're making for your products or your services. You have to be very careful that you're not making unsubstantiated claims, that there's no actual evidence behind what you're saying, okay? Very important also that when you're doing reviews, if it's a customer that bought your product and left you a review, fantastic. There's nothing to disclose. But let's say you sent a free product to somebody. I sent a free product to Michelle. Hey, Michelle, check out my hoodie. I'm going to send you a free hoodie. Let me know what you think. Leave a review. Red flag right there. If you don't do this right, you might get in trouble. You have to disclose that you gave her a free hoodie, or she has to disclose in her video that you gave her a free hoodie and that she's leaving you a review. Because maybe you're lucky and you get away with doing this for 10, 20 years. Maybe nobody ever catches you, but once they do, that's when the problem is there. The fines, the headaches, the having to get lawyers. You don't need that. I see so many big brands doing this. Another thing that brands do is, for example, they send the influencer a product. The influencer takes a picture, a selfie, uploads it. Then the brand grabs a screenshot and reposts it. If the influencer's cool, they're not going to give you any shit. But if they know the law and they have a lawyer behind them that has been kind of picking on brands, you just violated a publicity rights law because they did not give you permission to share their content. Okay, just because you send them a free hoodie and they took a picture, they uploaded it, doesn't mean you put it on your website. Doesn't mean you put it on your social media. They could sue you. They could sue you, and chances are they're going to get that money for suing you. Be very careful with that. Very important. If you're going to put videos up, if you're going to use influencers on your ads, or even a photographer. Let's say you look up to this amazing photographer. Your whole life you looked up to them, and all of a sudden you see that they took a picture of your product or your service. Oh my God, you're so excited. That's their copyright. If you don't have permission to even post the picture, let alone run ads or anything like that, if you don't have permission, that is a big issue. Don't overlook it. If you want more info about that, look at our marketing compliance episode on Hustle Inspires Hustle. It's on all streaming platforms. What else are we forgetting here? Tracking. Maybe we could touch a little bit on tracking. This is a little bit more high level, but when high level marketers are looking at the entire framework of how their copywriting and their web pages convert, there's a lot more to it than just how many people bought, how many people visited versus how many people bought. There's different things you could do on your website, like track scrolls, how deep into the website people are scrolling, how many seconds they're staying on the site, how many pages are they bouncing to, right? Did they complete the video on the top? Some pages have a big ass video on the top. Think everybody's watching it, and they go look at their stats and only 3% of the people are watching the video. Maybe it's best not to have the video, but to have a questionnaire or something else. You have to be able to dissect your website. It's not about, I tried this and it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Okay, very important. Why didn't it work? Why is it that I'm doing things that are not working? It's not because you suck or because it's never going to work. You have to look at the data, conversion data, purchase data, how many people added to cart. Okay, let's say 100 people hit the landing page. Out of 100 people, 2 people added to cart. We have an add to cart problem. So do we need to move the add to cart button higher, make it bigger, change the color? These are all very little minute things that you have to keep an eye out when you're promoting your website, especially if you have high volume traffic. If you're just starting out, you might not want to drown yourself in these little things. But let's say you're running a big account. You have a website that's selling $1,000, $20,000, $30,000, $100,000 a day. Sometimes making a little tweak, right? For example, give you a perfect example. Let's say we're on our cell phone and we're looking to purchase a pair of sneakers. Okay, so you go on one website and website A shows you a big picture of the sneaker and it looks nice, but you got to scroll down a few scrolls and add to cart. Keep that in mind. Website B, nice picture of the shoe. Right under add to cart button, right under buy now button. No need to scroll. Let's say each of those websites are receiving 100,000 visitors a day. The website that makes you scroll to add to cart might have a lower conversion rate than the one where it has it right away because they can make the decision right away. Sometimes making tiny little changes like that make a big difference. So don't neglect brand voice. Don't neglect placement of content on your website. Don't neglect automations. This is a giant recipe that you're putting together. And there's no right or wrong answer as to necessarily how you want to go about it. There is foundational things that you're going to want to stick to, that you don't want to overlook, but you want to be able to be a little bit flexible and not be so much in your head about having to keep things a certain way. Sometimes you have to be open-minded and you have to be creative in the ways that you portray your product or your service so people have a better response. You might be spending a specific amount of money and you may think, I'm spending all this money. The only way I could actually scale is by spending more money. That's not necessarily the case. Michelle and I have seen that with other clients, which is they spend the same amount of money with us than they did with another agency, but we made a few tweaks. They didn't have to reinvent the wheel or make them spend a bunch of money making those tweaks, and immediately their sales go up by 10, 15, 20%.
Yeah, I think the difference is just because we are, like most people, we're not emotion-based. We are data-driven people, and we've worked with a lot of type of other businesses that have come up to us and be like, oh, okay, for example, we'll go back to the pop-ups. Oh, I'd rather do a pop-up compared to the spinner because the spinner isn't going to work. Okay, well, why isn't going to work? Did you look at the data? Did you test it out already? No, I haven't tested it.
So how do you know it's not going to work?
So how do you know it's not going to work? Where is the data? Then we run the test. Turns out, what does better? The spinner.
There's people that say they don't. Oh, I don't want to try that. I don't think I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Well, what if you like it?
Yeah, and we understand as business owners ourselves that we tend to think the only person that knows their business better is ourselves. But sometimes it's really good to take a step back and realize I'm not always right, and that's why you hire on experts and consultants that could give you a bird's eye view of things and where you can be potentially turning a blind eye to things that are setting you back just because you're so caught in your head that this isn't going to work for me. However, I haven't done anything to test it and I don't have any, and even the data that I have to look at, I don't look at.
Exactly. Now, a few more things I want to touch on while we're on the topic of websites and products and services. Website speed, very important. You don't want a slow website. Google page speed, it's very important. Google judges you based off your page speed. They rank you organically based off that page speed. It'll dictate whether you have higher or lower advertising cost or higher or lower conversion rate on your website. You have to look at page speed for mobile, and you have to look at page speed for desktop. Very important. Do not have failing scores. If you do, hire an expert. In one of the websites that I mentioned previously, you'll be able to find it. If you guys have questions on what I mentioned here, on any topic that we mentioned here, if you're listening on one of the platforms, you could just go to our social media, drop a comment on my social media profile or Michelle's. We'll link those in the show notes. Or go to our YouTube channel for Hustle Inspires Hustle, which is growing extremely fast, and drop some comments in there. So website speed, very important. One thing that's a big contributor to website speed that people neglect is the size of the images that you're placing on the website. You don't want an 8 megabyte, 6 megabyte, 10 megabyte, 4 megabyte heavy ass picture on your site. You want to be able to crunch that. So that goes into website speed.
And don't just test like your website yourself. Like don't open it on your phone and be like 1, 2, 3. Like that's not how
it works.
That's not how it works. Like make sure to use like Google has its own like page speed report website, and you can literally put it in there. And
I think it's Google page speed.
And like know what other place to look better than where you are trying to rank, which is Google. So like why not use Google's tool? And a really good just key to know is like people are really impatient. Like, like we live on our phones and computers and on technology daily. And, like we are impatient people. Trust me, like I am impatient. You are impatient. So if a website takes more than 2 seconds, God forbid, 1.8 whatever seconds, I'm out of there. Like I'm going to find a faster loading website because this is taking way too long. And that's just how it is. So like you have to have, even if your website is loading at 2.2, Google thinks that's slow. Like your website's supposed to be at 1.5. People have an attention span of 1.3 seconds. Unheard of at this point,
Yeah.
They're worse than fish.
We Dory, we recently had an issue with that with one of our clients that like we built their whole website. Beautiful, but they wanted to add all the high quality images that they took from their super mega DSLR camera. It's like, dude, we know it looks good, but you're failing all the speed tests. So what is that going to do for you? You're just going to look good, but you're not going to close.
And 4K videos and 4K photos are awesome to have.
You got to downsize.
But just remember, like people, again, like are on our phones. Like most websites have like an 80 to 10 to 20% mobile to desktop ratio. So people are always searching on their phones, and our phones can't even take 4K.
Yeah,
they can take.
It's
I
overkill.
don't even know how much iPhones can take, but definitely not 4K.
Yeah. So guys, listen. We've touched on a few of these points in other episodes, but specifically Michelle and I, given that we've been running an agency for years, we thought it'd be cool to get together and talk about a few of these things. If there's anything that we left out, if there's anything that you would like for us to talk about in the future, please get active. Drop a comment on our YouTube, drop a comment on our social medias, our LinkedIn. We are on every social media platform. You can find this podcast everywhere. And we really want to get in the weeds with you guys and see what problems we could help you guys solve. See if any of our experience could give you some insight and wisdom. And if we don't have that experience or wisdom, we'll be happy to invite an expert on the podcast, so we'll talk about it and help you get to those next steps. Ultimately, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to use our experience, our time as marketers and business owners, as an inspiration, as sort of a mentorship guide for you who have been following us for years. Okay, it's a little bit over 3 years now that Hustle Inspires Hustle has been running. Hundreds of thousands of people that have come across the podcast episodes. Hundreds of millions of people who have shared the name, okay, the hashtag. Thank you guys. Like, thank you. We sit here and we do this because you guys actually listen and you guys stay engaged. And a lot of you listeners are people that love us, our family, our friends, colleagues, people that went to school with us. We recognize you guys. We thank you guys. We thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to hear us, to support us, to tag us, to share it. It means a lot. So don't be afraid to ask. We're here to help. Again, don't be afraid to share the episode. If you got any value from this episode or any of the other episodes, guys, it'll make a huge difference for us if you share with a friend or colleague you think is going to draw value from this, because we don't advertise a lot. Again, this is not our main business. We are digital marketers. Hustle Inspires Hustle has grown into a beautiful community, but this is not our focus business. The fastest way for this to grow, the fastest way for people to be able to learn more from this, from all of this free mentorship, is by sharing it. We've had billionaires, 100 millionaires. We've had best-selling authors. We've had kick-ass female entrepreneurs. We've had kick-ass fitness entrepreneurs, FBI negotiators, app creators. My God, we've had a ton of mentors on here that come and spill free game that you could ultimately learn from, draw inspiration from, and then be able to build your own business. So with that being said, this is Alex Quin, Michelle Chia from Miami, Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. We will see you on the next episode.